This is The Space Shot, episode 322 for April 1st, 2018. Tyros 1 and Space Education for Kids. I'm John Molnix. No, today's episode is not about the Easter Bunny visiting the International Space Station. I'm not even entirely sure how he could get there. I'm also not sure how an Easter egg hunt would work in space. I think one would need a lot of Velcro to keep the eggs in place and hidden so they don't go floating off. I guess you could ask Commander Hadfield about hiding Easter eggs. Check out the space.com article I'm linking to. It's up first in the show notes. Now, it's time for the real topic of today's episode. The Television Infrared Observation Satellite, or Tyros 1, lifted off on April 1st, 1960. Tyros 1 was the first in a series of 10 satellites launched between April of 1960 and July of 1965. The goal of this program was to, quote, determine if satellites could be useful in the study of Earth. At the time, effectiveness of satellite observations was still unproven. Since satellites were a new technology, the Tyros program also tested various design issues for the spacecraft, instruments, data, and operational parameters. The goal was to improve satellite applications for Earthbound decisions, such as, should we evacuate the coast because of the hurricane? The answer to the question of are satellites useful in the study of Earth is a resounding yes. If you use a smartphone, and my guess is you do if you're listening to this podcast, chances are you've got a couple of apps on it that rely on satellite imagery from the latest generation of weather satellites. Expanding our knowledge of Earth science is part of NASA's Earth Sciences Division, which coordinates airborne and satellite observations to broaden our understanding of our home planet. Working towards bettering our knowledge of the weather here on Earth isn't done strictly for scientific reasons. There's an economic imperative as well. Think about how many industries are affected by the weather. Farming, ranching, fishing, air travel, anyone that has to drive in inclement weather like truck drivers, tourism, and countless other industries are all affected by the weather here on Earth. Studying our home planet is both economically and scientifically prudent, and we shouldn't shy away from finding out as much as we can about Earth. The Tyros 1 satellite was able to send back extremely low-resolution images taken by a slow-scan TV camera on board the spacecraft. This camera was capable of taking one image every 10 seconds, and the images were then sent back to ground stations on Earth and recorded on 35mm film for distribution to scientists. Modern weather satellites like the GOES, or Geostationary Operational Environment satellites, provide unparalleled views of our planet. Check out the pictures that I'm sharing online today to get a comparison between the modern GOES imagery and the first picture sent back by Tyros. It's a bit mind-blowing. Lastly for today, I had a conversation with a family member about some space resources for little kids, and I said I would include some links in today's episode. No matter the age of your young space enthusiast, there's a wealth of resources on different NASA websites that you can take advantage of. I'm linking to some pages for grades K through 4, 5 through 8, 9 through 12, and even higher education in the show notes. For teachers, I'm also linking to a NASA website that has all of the student resources that NASA has available from A to Z for grades K through 8. The articles are on everything from Apollo to microgravity to spacesuits. I'm also linking to some NASA apps for iPhone and iPads, as well as Android devices. I'm an Apple guy myself, and I'm a bit bummed that NASA's newest app, Spacecraft AR, for augmented reality, is only available for Android devices right now. I'll be snagging a friend's Android device to try this out later this week. Going through all of these educational resources has also given me an idea for an article that I'll be posting here soon that will basically be a blog post version of today's episode that's even more detailed, so be on the lookout in the next week or so for that article. Tomorrow, the Coinage Act of 1792. Yeah, that's not an April Fool's joke. I hope all of you have a fantastic rest of your day. I appreciate each and every one of you that listen to the podcast every day. Since you're here, and I've got your ear, give me 30 seconds of your time. I'd be incredibly grateful if you could share the podcast with your friends and family. Tag one of them and let them know about your favorite episode. I'd also really appreciate it if you could venture into the Apple Podcasts app or your podcast app of choice and leave a review for The Space Shot. A steady stream of reviews helps ensure The Space Shot is more visible in the Apple Podcasts app. As always, the show notes have more information on today's episode. You can hit me up on Instagram and Twitter. Find me at John Molnix. I'm always up to chat. You can also connect with me on Facebook. Just search The Space Shot or check out the links in the show notes and you'll find me. I'm John Molnix, and I'll catch you on the flip side.